The CME Open happened on Monday night, guys, and we literally had seen a strong dump. Right now, Bitcoin keeps on going as hard as possible to the low side. We literally had seen Bitcoin give us a nice pump. However, as we have seen that happen previously, every single pump is just a fake out, and then we keep on dropping lower. I'm going to talk about a possible target of 67k on Bitcoin, and also where is going to be the next setup on Bitcoin, because right now, as you can see, guys, we have literally been dumping for the past, good to be honest, I'd say like maybe 8 hours. Bitcoin had opened the CME Open, and I basically guys said that exact thing on yesterday. Yesterday, guys, I made a video and I told you guys that you gotta be cautious and patient for the CME Open. Most of you guys don't pay much attention to that, and I told you guys that you have to see how Bitcoin actually moves much different once the CME opens, which is actually at 2 a.m. Dubai time. As you can see, we literally saw Bitcoin lose 90.4k and then drop immediately to the lower side. And I explained that in the past video. I think this video on the channel, I told you guys that if we lose 90.4k, I'm going to be prepared to get a nice, or at least be prepared to watch a nice drop on Bitcoin. Us losing 90.4k would probably cause an immediate exact drop to 87.5k. However, I want to make it quite clear that yesterday and even prior to yesterday, I gave you guys an idea, a possible long scenario, which was at around 87.2 to 87.6. I think that I had a line that was at 87.2 and also a line that was at 87.6. And before I mentioned my expectations and also my predictions, let me talk about, and also my setups, obviously, let me talk about what happened yesterday on Bitcoin, because I think that most of you guys should have, or please, all of you guys should have avoided longing 87.6, 87.2, and this would be an exact amazing case to explain to you guys and teach you guys a lesson to why never put or set a limit order whenever you're day trading, guys. As I told you guys yesterday and prior to that, we had the idea to long Bitcoin, and basically the idea was around us losing 90.4k. I said that if we lose this line, I'm going to be prepared for a drop on Bitcoin, but you must not short the market. But wait, once we get lower, we hit this area of 87.6. We had a confluence, multiple ideas that would support trying a long here. We had the anchored view up that was basically taken from the beginning of the uptrend. So we had this anchored view up here, and also we had an MPUC and a daily. So we had three reasons that were all clustered in between 87.6 all the way lower to 87.2. And I told you guys basically the way I execute my trades is I wait for a positive good reaction. Hence why please never set limit orders, because had you actually watched the video and then if you actually put or set a limit order, you would have been actually like entered the trade, and then you would have immediately been underwater, because if you literally see or watch the market reaction, you would have been able to avoid not longing, as I did. To be honest, it was also it happened at night for me, so I didn't even know I have to think about it. But even if I was awake, I would have definitely 100% avoided longing here. This is why I always tell you guys to put an alert notification on rather than setting an limit order, because we literally saw Bitcoin drop immediately, as you can see, and never offer us a single good bounce off of the area. So if someone had maybe listened to the video without understanding the idea or the concept of obviously watching for a certain reaction before entering a trade, maybe some of you guys, the beginners out there, would have entered. But please take it as a big important lesson, because I'm not here talking, or I'm not here saying that, oh, I didn't long, but obviously you have to understand, guys, that this was an easy long to avoid. Yes, I'm quite happy. We obviously, like, we spoke about the idea or the rationale about or behind losing 90k.4, and if we lose this, I told you guys that if we lose 90.4, I'm going to be prepared for a drop to at least 87. And even though, like, notice how the market doesn't necessarily follow and respect every single line. You have to understand, guys, that trading is a game of probability. So even though we had the MPUC, we had the daily, we had the anchored view up, all reasons to try a long, just because we had seen no good positive reaction at the 87.6k level, we have to understand that you shouldn't be longing randomly. You have to pay close attention to the closes of the 15-30 minute time frame, and you can clearly see that Bitcoin literally dropped immediately. We didn't get even a single 1 hourly candle above these areas. With that covered, now let me talk about Bitcoin and what's happening on Bitcoin, because technically right now, what's like how harsh of a drop that we had seen from 93 all the way lower now to 84 could maybe signal that what is happening right now is similar to what happened at, say, from 116 all the way lower and 107. As you can see, let me immediately just put back the rectangle that we had on. As you can see, this is a little local important, as you can see, resistance line. So we got this little resistance line that is at, I'd say, 87.5. So the previous support has now flipped into resistance. But now let me cover the higher time frame ideas before I go on a lower time frame, because literally right now, if we if you compare what happened here similar to what happened previously, we can literally see that this is quite similar to what we had seen previously. So we literally saw Bitcoin go from 125 all the way lower to, I'd say, 103, but then we pumped to 116. So we always had seen a little pump within the larger, broader idea of a dump. So we had seen a pump to 116 and then a dump, and then also a little pump to 107, and then also a dump, as you can see. So technically, this isn't outside of the norm of us having little pumps, faking everybody out, making everybody super bullish, and then liquidating them and keeping or falling much lower. Even if I take a quick comparison before guys, I tell you the ideas and my expectations and how we can actually technically even fall lower to 67k. This isn't my opinion, to be honest, but I wanted to be honest, like cover the full ideas here. So just before I give you the targets and also maybe little setups, let me cover also on a higher time frame how similar the bump we had seen, similar to the previous fake pumps we had seen. So I've covered that idea, and basically that was the reason why, or how I managed to short 107, because I saw a similarity between the pump we had seen on 107 and also between 116. So I spoke about this idea, but I want to also reiterate and cover it again, because last time we had seen, by the way guys, we had seen the drop from the all-time high all the way lower to, as you can see, the beginning of the pump, as you can see. So I think at 103, and if we take a comparison, you will see that basically we had topped out at around the 50% area. So we had the drop and then we pumped 50% of the actual drop. Anyway, so if you take that same exact value and you then measure the drop from 116 all the way lower to 99, 98, you'll see how also at 107 we closely have or had topped out at close to 50%. And lastly, this is close to what happened also here. So same thing, we'll take it from the beginning of the dump, which is 107, to the beginning of the pump, as you can see, from 80.5. And you'll see that basically we had closely, not exactly, but we had closely topped out at 50%. So every single time within the broader bearish movement or the bearish trend, we had every single time we had seen a little a strong dump, and then 50% of that dump happened as a pump, and every single time we actually had seen it as a fake out and then a continuation lower. Anyways, now I want to cover how important the fail to break 91k, or I'd say the rejection off of 91k, is in terms of actually waiting for much lower prices. Because if I take a larger time frame view, as you can see, if I move to the daily time frame, I want to cover how I basically look on Bitcoin or at Bitcoin, to be honest, because as you can see, I want to treat Bitcoin in terms of ranges. And if I take a look at the range that we've been accumulating or ranging into since November 2024 to the current price action, as you can see, if I take a look at this range and I take a volume profile that basically gives me an analysis of the range, as you can see. So I'll take it from November 2024 to the current price, and you'll see how we had literally like perfectly rejected off of 91, 92k. We literally hit the anchored viewer, but also most importantly, we failed to break the value area low. And for me, to be honest, like I see this as one of, if not the most important bearish thing to happen lately on Bitcoin. To be honest, like we could have actually like reclaimed 92 and then went above to 97. And even if we managed to reclaim 97, I would have predicted, to be honest, a full move reversal to 116. However, right now with the close or the bearish close of the monthly candle, the weekly candle, and also the daily candle looking like that, as you can see, with basically us losing the value area low, losing 91, and then going all the way lower to retest it as resistance, and right now we're rejecting off of it. To be honest, this looks one of the most bearish candles to me personally. I wouldn't wanna spread FUD over here. I'm not saying to sell, obviously guys. Selling and shorting is only done at the top. So if you do not hold a short, please don't be fearful. Please don't be shorting the lows. Doesn't make, to be honest, any sense to try shorting here, but at least avoid longs and also keep your shorts open. So I want to just quickly emphasize how important that is. And with that being mentioned, let's just assume that Bitcoin never, to be honest, like succeeds in reclaiming 91. So assuming that Bitcoin never goes above to 91, never reclaims 91, to be honest, the technical target for me or to me would be 67k. Like, even though we have little support, I may try to long. So I have idea to long on the lower time frame. I may have an idea to long at 78, but technically and also in terms of how the structure looks like, the price action, the volume, I'd say that the only good reasonable area to try a large or a higher enough of a long or a larger sum of a long, I'd say that is actually at 67k, where we got the top of the previous, I'd say, all-time high, and also a cluster of volume. To be honest, like, I see nothing of importance in terms of volume holding us back from losing, or after losing 91, to drop all the way lower to 67. So I'm not here predicting that drop to 67. My job as an analyst, my job as a profitable day trader is not here to give you guys a prediction, but rather understand that 67k is not out of the picture yet, especially, or to be honest, like the odds of seeing 67 have highly increased. The probability have gone up since we have not been able to break 91. So you gotta understand this. Yeah, we might try little longs, but I see that rejection that happened would probably like gear us towards going much lower. Now with all this covered, I want to end it off, guys, by saying or giving you guys a little bit of a small setup on the lower time frame, because as I told you guys, even though we may have a little bit of a bias towards obviously much lower, we'll go on a lower time frame and take literal normal, maybe scalp longs, scalp shorts, doesn't matter. Obviously the scalp shorts would be better because there's a possibility of like taking them as a short scalp and then them turning into a much higher trade. But for the longs, we can still try little longs, doesn't matter. Anyways, let me cover, I have an idea to short and an idea to long, and then we'll talk about much deeper stuff, to be honest, in terms of importance. Anyways, just to cover it off, guys, we need to understand how important it is to maybe reclaim 87k on the lower time frame. Doesn't matter or mean much, to be honest, because we still got the same resistance line at 91. So even though reclaiming 87.5 would probably mean us going all the way lower or higher, sorry, to 91, because I told you guys, like every single time we lose 90.5, we go to 87.5. Every single time we reclaim 87.5, we go to 90.5. So similarly right now, if we somehow manage to go above 87.5, I'm going to be expecting a pump, but that would not matter unless we actually magically become able to reclaim 91. Anyways, so assuming that Bitcoin isn't able to break that certain area, which is 87.5, we may also as well try shorting this area. Why? Because obviously this is a previous support that has flipped into a little good resistance line. Also, we have the volume area. As you can see right now, we got the point of control, which was previously as support, but obviously the price is right now below the area. It has to be or become a resistance line. Also, we have the anchored view up that basically represents the beginning of this little local downtrend. So we have the high that has liquidity, we have the anchored view up, we got the volume area. So even though I didn't catch a short from the top, I'm going to be looking for maybe a little scalp short by waiting for the lower time frame, 15-minute time frame, 30-minute time frame, for a little fake pump. And then if we lose 87, I might try to short Bitcoin like that. So it may end up as well being a little scalp, or we can be lucky and have it as a beginning of a scalp, and then it comes out to be a large important swing trade. So on a lower time frame, reclaiming 87.5 is quite good on a lower time frame, but at least we might as well try a short off of this area, because we weren't offered a support, we weren't offered a long from it. We could try it as a little resistance line, to be honest.